The gentleman from Texas is recognized.
I thank the gentleman from South Carolina. I thank him for bringing forward this important resolution before the body. I do want to say I appreciate the gentleman from Maryland, his commentary about the vote on removal and his considered judgment with respect to Santos, and I agreed with him at the time and made the same points. I want to align myself with the remarks from the gentleman from Louisiana, but I want to note in doing so, and I think the gentleman from Maryland has shown respect to, I think, the judgment of the gentleman from Louisiana about his being the sole vote on the issue before this body before with respect to what we're making public because of the gentleman's, I think, very real concerns about what it might mean for victims. And we had that debate and a colloquy back and forth in the Judiciary Committee a few hours ago about what we can do to ensure victims are protected and so forth as we all go forward in what I believe is a unanimous view that we should go seek out truth and justice here with respect to Epstein and anybody associated with him and them and the nefarious affairs involving Jeffrey Epstein. The reason that I support this resolution is, and I would note that my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, they could have tabled this resolution. They chose not to table it. They chose to refer it, which suggests to me that there's a recognition that something here is not particularly good, that we've got a sitting member, in this case the delegate from the U.S. Virgin Islands, who was sitting in the Oversight Committee.
What's up, Patriots? Welcome back to Liberty Trigger. Today, we're reacting to a moment on the House floor that should have every American paying attention because it just exposed something massive about the two standards in Washington. And I'm going to call it exactly how I see it. A congressman from Texas took the floor and laid out something stunning. A sitting member of Congress, a delegate from the U.S. Virgin Islands, was texting Jeffrey Epstein during a live congressional hearing.
And I'm actually a particular interest here because I was the one doing the questioning. Apparently my questioning was so riveting that she was engaging in text messages back and forth at that moment. While I was questioning Mr. Cohen, the gentlelady was engaging in this back and forth on text messages with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, again, I've listened now for months. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle disparage and try to impugn the character of the President of the United States and other members of the administration in connection to an investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, which the President, his administration in 2019, they indicted Epstein. They actually moved forward and federally indicted him in 2019. Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested by the Trump administration. And I know the gentleman from Maryland will go on to say that the Biden administration then carried forward that arrest and indictment into prosecution. True. But it was, in fact, the Trump administration that did what had not been done for a long period of time by taking forward that indictment. So I've been listening to all of the preaching by my friends on the other side of the aisle about how any association, anything to do with Jeffrey Epstein is somehow the dispositive moment here in terms of determining the character of this administration or what they're doing or not doing when they're leaning in to try to seek the truth. Where tens of thousands of pages have been released by Jamie Comer and 13 subpoenas has all been put out. So now the House just voted to have greater transparency. Time will tell what that means in terms of what the court does and how they deal with grand jury secrecy and what they do to continue to redact and protect victims' names under existing laws and how the courts treat that. That's going to be a process, as the gentleman likely knows, right? This is going to be determined as to what gets released and how. But here we have the gentlelady sitting in the Oversight Committee texting with a known convicted felon, a convicted pedophile that was very public and known, had served jail time, and is engaging not just in texts that were trivial, but texts involving advice about her questioning of Michael Cohen, all designed to figure out how to get Michael Cohen to be able to somehow go after Trump or Trump's advisors or people around the president. That, to me, is what we talk about with censure, which is contemplated, of course, in our rules and in the structure. The gentleman talked about the Constitution. We're not removing her. We're simply saying censure. And we're saying that it is a censurable conduct to say that this individual sitting on a committee taking advice from a known convicted pedophile, convicted felon, that is conduct unbecoming of a member of the United States Congress and engaging in real time, taking advice from someone that we've been listening to, being lectured to, is someone deserving of all of the scorn of the entire world, and he is. That's why we're here. If my colleagues didn't think this was a concern, they would have simply made a motion to table. But my colleagues decided to refer it to committee because they know this is a problem. They know this is not the kind of conduct you want in a member of this body. So I think that the gentleman from South Carolina is right to have brought this forward. I think that the body should hear this debate, and tonight that we should vote tonight to censure and refer to the Ethics Committee for further consideration. And with that, I yield back.
Not years ago, not before he was exposed, but while Epstein was already a convicted pedophile, and the entire world already knew it. And these weren't random texts. She was reportedly asking Epstein for strategic advice on how to go after Michael Cohen in real time, with the goal of attacking President Trump and his advisors. Let that sink in. A member of Congress, during official oversight duties, taking political coaching from Jeffrey Epstein. And here's what blows my mind. For years, Democrats have used Epstein as a weapon. They've accused Trump, Trump associates, and anyone within 5 miles of Epstein of being guilty just by association. But now we find out that while they were lecturing the entire country, one of their own was literally working with the man while sitting on an official committee. If that's not hypocrisy, I don't know what is. Another point the congressman made, and it's one the mainstream media never repeats. It was the Trump administration that actually indicted Epstein in 2019. It was under Trump that Ghislaine Maxwell was arrested. So while the left claims a moral high ground, the record shows that Trump's DOJ is the administration that finally took real action against Epstein. And now tens of thousands of documents and subpoenas are coming out, and you can tell some people in Washington are starting to sweat. Now here's the interesting part. Democrats could have shut the whole resolution down instantly. They didn't. They sent it to committee. That tells you everything. They know this looks bad. They know the public won't accept this. And they know accountability is coming. And the congressman isn't even calling for removal, just censure. The basic acknowledgement that texting with a convicted pedophile during a government proceeding is conduct unbecoming of Congress. Honestly, that's the bare minimum. As a patriot, I'm glad this is coming out. Because if we expect Americans to trust government again, we cannot have elected officials secretly getting political advice from criminals, especially someone like Epstein. There has to be one standard of justice, not one for everyday Americans, and another for the political elite. And if Congress doesn't take this seriously, the American people will, because this is a kind of corruption that destroys trust in our institutions. What do you think? Is censure enough? Should there be more consequences? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more real talk the mainstream media won't touch. Thanks for watching, Patriots. America first.